Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing the 5th update for AEC International Airport. Now this is the main airport within my collection, I guess you could say, with the Air Force Base being second in line, and it's by far the biggest as well. I haven't updated this on YouTube in about 2 years, and much like the Air Force Base, I haven't actually set it up since then. However, if you have been following the channel for a while or have seen older videos, you'll notice that the airport is much different in today's update. The other side of the field, which you're not seeing right now, has been completely revitalised. Previously in the last update, it was just an A4, or not really A4, but just blank white paper with gates drawn onto it as a kind of regional and remote holding stand section. However, that entire section has now been redone. It's been painted up properly with lines and everything, and has a terminal, that being the Gemini Jet's smaller airport terminal, and it's really brought the airport to life, and I'm very happy with it. The rest of the field has stayed pretty much the same, other than some revitalisation of taxiways and moving of certain gates, i.e. the Qantas aircraft, or the Qantas terminal is now the Virgin Australia terminal. Now, there are a lot more aircraft than usual on this update, mainly due to the new terminal being able to host more international flights, which, while it's great for the airport, it does mean that I'm going to run out of options for international flights to display on regular updates. Now, I've been collecting a lot more aircraft of late. I've posted another Air Force Base update and an unboxing in recent times, but even since then there's been a lot more aircraft coming. However, unfortunately, in terms of the airport, the peak of my interest in what I've been collecting doesn't exactly correlate with a modern international airport based in Australia, like this one is. I've been collecting a lot more Soviet aircraft and I guess government aircraft, even military aircraft, and stuff that kind of is cool to collect, but isn't ideal for the airport. And while I can have one or two of those aircraft feature on the airport at a time, I can't really load up international terminals with them. I also haven't been collecting as many narrow-body aircraft or narrow-body domestic aircraft, which means much of the aircraft that were previously featured are still here today, and I'm going to have to get a bit creative with how to change up those flights. I am looking at getting an Alliance Fokker 100 soon, perhaps the Alliance E190, and maybe another Virgin Australia model, but other than that, I really don't know what else I can buy to really make the domestic area of the airport be exciting. Anyway, we'll get into the update, and we'll start off with this old side of the airport, which has been here since the beginning. Just pushing back from its gate there, we have a Cathay Pacific Boeing 777-300ER in the old livery, and this aircraft will be heading out to Hong Kong. And moving on, in the gate just next to where the Cathay Pacific is pushed back, we have an Emirates Airbus A380, this one bearing a Cricket World Cup sticker. Unfortunately, the aircraft doesn't have that anymore, and while I would like to get a blank A380 model for Emirates, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Anyway, he's just sitting in the gate, been here for a couple of hours, and will depart later on in the day for a flight to Dubai. These are the JC Wings jet bridges. If you don't know, they're the glass gangway ones, and they're a really great jet bridge, although are a little hefty in price. And moving back here, which is next to this terminal, we have a CityLink Airbus A320neo. Now this is a new model for the airport. I haven't had it too long, and this is we'll be heading out for a flight to Denpasar, Bali. Just behind it there is a cargo tug, as you can see. Now, I should mention, in terms of GSE for the airport, it's very, very limited at the moment. The only GSE I have is one pack of the old Gemini Jets GSE, and to be fair, it's pretty crappy GSE. With the one set having to be distributed across the entire airport, it really does make the GSE look few and far between. However, I do have a massive load of GSE in the mail, which I won in an eBay auction. And despite the fact that it doesn't have packaging or anything, there's probably a good 50 different pieces there, which means it was fairly good value for what I paid. But anyway, this CityLink A320neo will be heading to Denpasar. Now, moving to the Virgin Australia area now, this is what previously was the Qantas domestic area. However, the Qantas area has now moved to the new terminal, and as such, this area here has become Virgin Australia. Now, the aircraft haven't really changed since the last update. This terminal here is handmade, and it is the next part of the airport to be redone. I've found some, I believe they're Herpa terminals off eBay for fairly cheap, and I'll be replacing this with those. Those bridges will also be replaced. There's some of those in the mail at the moment too. But anyway, we'll start with this here, which is a Virgin Samoa 737-800, operating on behalf of Virgin Australia. And this is just getting baggage and stuff loaded on, and we'll be heading for a flight to Brisbane. Next to the 737-800, we have a Virgin Australia Fokker 100, and this will be heading over to Adelaide. It'll be departing in about an hour. And right on the end there, not attached to a terminal, we have a Virgin Blue 737-700. Now this is operating on behalf of Virgin Australia. Obviously Virgin Blue is now a seized airline. However, that they were what operated before Virgin Australia, and they operated a number of 737-700s, whereas Virgin Australia now only operate a pair of them. But anyway, this aircraft will be heading for a flight to Darwin. Now moving to the other side of that pretty crappy terminal, we have a pair of international flights. Now, I'm not sure if these are new aircraft to the channel. I've had them for a couple of years now, but they were some of the later aircraft I bought within my peak of collecting, and I don't know if they're featured on the airport. But anyway, here we have a United 787-8 Dreamliner. He's only arrived a short time ago, and will be here for a few hours before returning to Los Angeles. And next to that, attached to a double jet bridge gate, we have an Etihad Boeing 777-200LR. Now this will be departing in about an hour to Abu Dhabi. It's just getting cargo or baggage loaded on. Now Etihad have now retired their fleet of 777-200LRs, and they're actually in the process of retiring their 777-300ERs. With a fleet of A350s and 787s to replace them. However, the 200LRs and the 300ERs as well are a wonderful aircraft, and I believe they suit this Etihad livery brilliantly. And this Phoenix model of the Etihad 777-200 has become quite a rarity now. And moving to remote gates now, now the rest of the airport is over there, we have a Jetstar Airbus A320-200. Now this area here is now Jetstar. We have a couple of gates for Jetstar, and Jetstar's always been housed over this side of the airport. Now this A320 with winglets is going to be making a flight over to Perth and is awaiting its pushback shortly. Just next to that we have another Jetstar A320, this one in the older livery and not sporting winglets. This one is currently dormant in its gate, and will be making the hop over to Melbourne later on in the day. Now, it's also worth mentioning now that I've actually redone the gates and the lines on this airport. So previously, you can actually kind of see the old markings which were being painted over, and they've been replaced with much neater, newer ones. And this has really brought the airport to life, made it look a lot more presentable. The gates have also been redone, although the actual lines haven't been remarked. It's just traced over the old lines. But anyway, yeah, this A320 will be heading over to Melbourne. Now moving to this side of this remote area, which used to be the Virgin Australia area, we have a Qantas 737-800 in the retro blue livery. Now these gates here are now just being used as remote holding stands for any aircraft, whether that be cargo or an unusual visitor, or in the case of this, an aircraft that is just on standby. There are currently no plans for this 737. It'll be towed over to the main Qantas terminal to do a flight probably the next day. Now moving to the new section of the airport, which is certainly a lot better looking than the rest of it. We can see here that is the new terminal over there, new runway that's been redone, and over here we have the new remote holding stands. Here we just have a blank white Boeing 767-300 freighter. This is operating on behalf of Qantas Freight and Atlas Air, and is currently waiting here to do the night hop over to Hong Kong. And next to that, in another remote holding stand, we have the usual Singapore Airlines cargo flight, operated by one of their Boeing 747-400 freighters. This will be departing later this evening over to Singapore, fully loaded up with cargo. And just here we move properly over to the new terminal. And this is the Gemini Jets, I think it's the GJARPTB terminal or something of the like. Quite a popular airport terminal, the smaller one, and this is being used as the airport's second and main terminal now. This houses flights for Qantas, both domestic and some international, as well as some international carriers over the far side, which we'll get to soon. So anyway, in this main double jet bridge gate here, we have a Qantas Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner, and this will be heading over to London via Darwin. And moving to Qantas domestic gates now at the main terminal, we have a Qantas 737-800 in the old livery. This is currently just boarding for a flight over to Perth in about half an hour. Just next to that, in another jet bridge gate, we have a Qantas Link 717-200. This is just preparing for its flight over to Hobart, which will be occurring in just over an hour. And finally, for the Qantas section just next to that, we have a Qantas 737-800 in the new livery. This is boarding and catering for a hop over to Alice Springs. And this now concludes the Qantas area, and we'll move on to international flights. And just here we have a Batik Malaysia Boeing 737-800. This here is operating a flight from Kuala Lumpur via Denpasar. So it does a two-stage hop. So it will be heading over from here to Denpasar and then carrying on to Kuala Lumpur. And this will be departing later tonight. And just here on the gate on the corner, we have quite an interesting aircraft. This is the Air Niugini Boeing 767-300ER. Now, if you follow the channel, you probably would have seen a couple of weeks ago I posted an unboxing of a Japan Airlines 767-300. Now, that model I did mention was going to be stripped of its existing livery and converted to Air Niugini. Since I uploaded that, I've now completed that transformation, and the aircraft is now in Air Niugini livery. So, with the help of decals, it is a custom model, obviously. It has become Air Niugini, which is fairly cool, being Air Niugini does operate flights to Australia. They're one of the only passenger airlines to operate the 767 to Australia, and unfortunately, you cannot generally get one in 1:400 scale. So anyway, this is currently boarding its passengers, both through the jet bridge and the stairs at the back, and will be departing in about 15 minutes for a hop over to Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. And moving over here to the final aircraft of the main terminal, we have a Korean Air Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. Now this is a new model. It's one of the few, I guess, commercial new models I've received. And does have some yellow fading on the wings, unfortunately. However, I got it as part of a pretty good deal. Now, this aircraft is currently dormant at the terminal. It arrived earlier this morning and will be here for most of the day until departing later this evening for a flight to Seoul. And moving over here, we see the final aircraft of the airport update, back to the new terminal, obviously. Now, these are the 3 regional flights that are currently servicing the airport. Or the 3 regional aircraft, rather. Now, I do actually still need to mark out the gates for these, and the plan was to build a taxiway just past here to actually continue out along here and then have these aircraft accessible to the runway via that corridor. That has not happened yet. I do have the cardboard required, but I've run out of paint. So once I buy more paint, I can do that, and then these aircraft will have an accessible corridor to the rest of the airport. But anyway, just parked in the corner here, we have a Qantas Link Q400, and the bus has just pulled up for that. And that will be departing for a flight to Mildura. Just next to that, we have the Rex Saab 340B, which is a very small model in 1:400 scale. This will be departing for a flight over to Wollongong. And finally here, we have the National Jet, or Cobham, BAE 146-300. And this will be operating over to Adelaide as part of a FIFO flight. Now, that pretty much concludes this airport. It's been a major change since the last update, that's for sure. But I'm really happy with how it's turned out. Other than the expenses of the terminal, obviously, it hasn't been an overly expensive project. And while it required a lot of time and effort, I think it's paid off. So I hope to update this airport more frequently in the future. Hope you have enjoyed this update. If you have, please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you, see ya.